We've had a bit of a tragedy here at McGolf. Let's have a moment of silence, please. All right, welcome back to McGolf Shop, and we did have a bit of a tragedy, but it wasn't nearly personal. It was more toological. As you guys have seen me use, I use a reamer, particularly when I'm building clubs that take them from taper tip, something like that guy. Ooh. All right, take it from a taper tip to a parallel so I can better frequency match shafts. Well, in the midst of all this, I'm making a set of C300s, and you've seen it. You can look right, probably it's going to be right up in here, of a custom club under 5 minutes, and it shows me using the reamer. You can also use it right there. All right, and that's the preferred method. When you put it in there, you pull her down and away you go. Well, the tool got dull and it stopped cutting, and I was trying to knock the piece off, which was this guy, that guy with a club in it. All right, this is what holds the club up in this neck of the woods, and it was stuck on the reamer. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see if we can make that happen. There we go. All right, it was stuck on the reamer, and me and my wonderful idea, I took my no bounce and gave it a whack, and off come a couple of things, and this guy moved around and the whole 9 yards, and basically after 10 years my teeny weeny little reamer and drill press are done. And so I went and got some new ones. So what did I do? Well, I searched around. Okay, I searched around, and a couple of things, and we're talking shop layout again. You got to be able to support, when you do a drill press, the foot or the footprint that this thing's going to take up. So that's number one. You got to know that. All right, so number two is you got to know what specific capacities that you need. All right, I went to, again, I used YouTube, and I started searching what are the best drill presses out there. And there was plenty of channels to tell me what the best drill presses were, but they never told me why. Why are they the best? Is it because they're the cheapest? Is it because they got the biggest motor? Is most reliable? Anything. Nothing. All it was, here it is, here's some specs, good night, and that's our pick. Well, that doesn't tell me crap. So, to put it on myself, what did I want? All right, I was number one, this is going to be the last drill press I buy. Number two, it better have enough power and massive amount of torque to run that guy in order for me to be able to ream out as many heads as I need till it takes me to the end of me doing this. Number two, the footprint. The footprint's got to fit in this particular area. I've got plenty of room, I just got to know what the footprint is, and it's got to fit. Some of them are too big. The other one is the distance. It's called the throw from where the drill chuck comes down to where the pole for the back end is. So from here, if you can see that, to the back end of the pole, this is only a throw of maybe, I don't know, is that 6 inches? It's only a throw of 6 inches. The one I'm looking at has 12, so we're going big. All right, and then it has to be smooth, it has to be reliable, it has to be you know, within my budget. I can't have $1 million drill press. And so I went searching, and it took me about 2 days worth of what do I want as far as accessories, what do I want as far as niceties, and what do I want as far as functionality. And I settled on one, and I ordered it. All right, I ordered it, and I haven't got it yet. So when I do, I will finish this video, and then we will talk why, and then on things it can do on drill presses. Welcome back to the McGolf Shop, and now we're going to describe what kind of tool I bought and why. And before we get started, if you like the video, how about liking it? And if you want to know more about tools, club making, or even the club fitting aspect, subscribe and you'll get noticed. Also, if you have any questions, put them down in the show notes and I'll be sure to answer them. So let's go figure out why I chose this one. Okay, I've got installed. It's pretty hard to figure out what it is I got. The selection process took me through a couple of things, but first let me show you the machine. And if we start from the top and we look over at the top, all right, you look in, and it's got a fairly large motor, a 3/4 horsepower motor, a fairly long, what they would like to call throw. It's not huge, but it does a pretty good job. I like the green color, being how I'm in the golf shop, and the longer arms to get a little bit more torque when you go to pull it down. It also has something that I'm not used to, but I'll have to get used to, and that is a crank handle, and that's to raise and lower the platen or the plate in order for you to raise and lower the project. And then what it does is that the plate turns out of the way. Then you come around to the front, and it has what they call it's either a chuck guard or a bit guard, and it flips up, and then you put your bit in there and flip it down. Another piece that I truly like was the fact that it has a light. It has a light, and the light lights up the project so I can see what I'm doing. And I've tested it once, as you can see, about all the stuff that's on here, and that it's just about the right height for me to see what I'm doing and still have control of the work that I'm getting ready to do. The base was pretty big. We had to change direction. Okay, the base down in here was pretty big, and what you saw, what I normally have is this thing's turned about 120 degrees so that the open faces this direction, and I could just walk into here. Well, based on its size, and it's pretty big, that we moved it around thanks to Mrs. McGolf, and I opened up this area over here in order to gain access, and actually it's a much better fit. So welcome, Grizzly, to the McGolf. Now let's talk about why I chose it. All right, let's talk about how I came across the selection process. Now you got to understand there's a couple categories. It talks about 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, that kind of descriptor of what it is. Supposedly, it has something to do with the throw. So from maybe, what they call a throw is from here to here, from middle to there. I don't think that's quite it. But they have an 8 to 10 inch, 8, 10, 12, 15, and they get bigger. And when you get past 12, basically it becomes a floor model. So this is basically the biggest bench model you can get. Now, my very first thing was, one, I'm never going to buy another bench press ever again. So I needed something that was a little more heavy duty than the one I had before. And I wanted something that once I want to do something else with it, it'll have plenty of power to do whatever I want it to do. Which brings me to power. All right, the horsepower and still being able to use 120. That's a big deal. Now, a lot of the horsepower ratings are in 1/3 horse, 1/2 horse, 2/3 horse, 3/4 horse power, or even 1 horsepower motors. Now, the bigger you get, the more power that it takes, and you can jump from like a 120 to 240 without even knowing it. And so you got to keep your eye on that one. And the bigger the motor, the more torque you can the more torque you can bring into it. And so at the slower speeds, even a little bit duller will go through it. So that's the reason why I got that one. The reason why I got this also, when I wanted the height, and so that was pretty tall. And then the chuck size. Most chucks are, you can get the most common is a 1/2 inch. This is 5/8. So it'll hold a little bit bigger bit for maybe a bigger project. Now the reamers I use aren't exactly small when we go to ream out the hosels, so it's a pretty good fit. And so that's what we want. So there's a reason why, there's a reason why, that's a reason why. And this runs off of a 2-belt system, not a 1-belt system, in order to get more speeds. So if I was to come up against a super thick piece of wood, or even a super thick piece of metal, I could readjust that from where I'm at. Now, how you do it's inside or where you would put the belts is inside the cover of the lid, and I can go as low as 140 RPM. This one was the lowest RPM that I saw. One more thing I forgot to add is you want to also check on how hard it is to put together. This thing's pretty heavy. It came in 2 boxes, and one was over 70 pounds and the other one was nearly 50. Now, by themselves, it's not a big deal. However, when you put them together, that's 125 pounds worth, and you got to be able to lift it to where you want it to go. You got to be able to handle that kind of weight. So it really only took me about 35 to 45 minutes to put together, and it worked out pretty good. So that's another consideration. And the top 2 honestly came out. One was a Wen, W-E-N, and then this guy started showing up all over the place. Now there were others. There was a Shop Fox, which was always really good. And if you look at the Shop Fox, I think the Shop Fox and this one are very close cousins with a different paint job. And so that's where we came out, and also that the delivery time was well within what I needed for the builds I have coming up. So I ordered it on a Wednesday. They said it would show up on a Wednesday. It showed up on a Monday. I put it together Monday night, and here you see it together now. So to recap, when you're talking about buying machines, and the drill press is a perfect example of all the rest of them, you're looking for making sure you have the right power. You're making sure you have the right speeds. You're making sure you're getting a high quality item, and that other people that have used them have given that particular review. And then finally, it's within your budget. My first drill press that you just saw me replace was a Central machine from Harbor Freight. Cost me like 50 bucks. And for what little bit I was using it, it worked fine. And this end of it starting to pick up, the machine broke, voila, I got that. So that's the Tools of the Trade Tuesday. And like always, let's see your scores go low. And if you liked it, like the video. And if you want to see some more, subscribe. And if you have any questions, how about asking below in the show notes?